Hey, sixth graders and families, it's Mrs. Jarwood. I hope everyone's home safe and doing well. We are diving right into our online learning this week, and I'm super excited to get started. As we've mentioned during our Zoom meetings, we're going to be using Google Classroom to stay connected, and that's also where all of your assignments will be uploaded to. Just a reminder, your assignments need to be uploaded by 5 o'clock p.m. in order for them to be considered complete. After 5 o'clock, you will not be able to go back and access them, so just keep that in mind when you're completing your work. During each video lesson for me, there's going to be a PowerPoint for you guys to follow along with. There's going to be times where I ask you to pause the video and complete a task, whether that's reading something on the slide and taking notes, or it's going back into Google Classroom and completing some questions. But don't worry, I will give you directions before I tell you to pause the video. The PowerPoints that I do use during the video will also be uploaded to Google Classroom, so you can always go back and look at them if you need to. Any links for videos or interactive lessons that you guys need for your independent work are also going to be on the slides and in Google Classroom, so they'll be easy for you to find and access. This is a new learning experience for all of us, teachers, parents, students. We get it, so if you need any help, please do not hesitate to reach out. We are here for questions, and we'll do the best we can to get through them. So we are actually going to be starting a persuasive writing unit for our first unit of online learning. So the first thing I'm going to have you guys do is go into the Google Classroom, and I'm going to have you pause the video, not quite yet when I say, to complete a self pre-assessment. So you're going to go into Google Classroom, and at the bottom, you're going to find the self-assessment for persuasive writing. You're going to click on that. It's going to bring you to this screen right here. You're just going to go through and answer the questions. Do not forget to put your name at the top so that I know who it is. And then you're going to hit submit. Once you hit submit, I'll get the answers. You can go ahead and play the video again. So go ahead and do that now. Pause the video, go into Google Classroom, get the questions done, and then come back for the presentation. Okay, welcome back. So we are starting with our persuasive writing unit. Our first topic is we are going to be talking about evaluating an author's argument. And the standards that go along with it are the next generation standards for standard 8. I'm not going to read it. It's right there on the screen. You guys can read through it, but I will go through our learning target. So for today, our learning target is being able to identify claims, reasons, and evidence an author uses to develop an argument. We have done some practice with this through our test prep during our race responses. So this might be review for some of you, but there will be some new information, so just keep that in mind. The materials you're going to need for today, you will need access to Google Classroom. If for some reason you are not in the Google Classroom, please take a second to pause the video, use the class code, and get logged in. Just a reminder, the work is due by 5 o'clock today, so that any work that you submit after 5 will not be counted. And you are also going to need paper and pencil for note taking today. Let's go through a little bit of how to take good notes, just as a quick refresher. So just like we would use in class with a highlighter and paper, do not write complete sentences down. Do not write a ton of information. You're only looking for keywords and important information, just like we would highlight in school, okay? You're gonna put in the words in your own words so that you understand it. You can use abbreviations or symbols, pictures, however you are going to understand the information, and the notes that you take is how best you're gonna write them down. The last thing is kind of some ideas on how to organize. You can make like a web down here, or you can just do bullets. Preferably, Mrs. Jarwood just likes to do bullets and just jot them down, but that's up to you. However you think you're going to remember the information best. Okay, so let's get started. So persuasive writing, what is it? Persuasive writing is when an author writes information or writes an article and uses words to convince the reader that their opinion is correct. Okay, so some examples are advertisements, billboards, commercials, speeches. One example I put on here is the Burger King ad that you see down there. They're trying to persuade people to come to Burger King and get fries because they're 40% less fat and 30% less calories. So that is, they're using persuasive writing or drawings, I guess you could say, to persuade the author that their fries are the better fries to choose. Okay? So evaluating arguments, what makes a good argument? So an author is going to choose an argument, which is kind of their opinion about a topic, okay? Then they have to use claims or evidence to back up their opinion to convince others that their opinion is the right opinion, okay? An effective argument does not appeal to emotions or rely on someone's popularity. It has to have evidence to support the claim, just like we do during a race response, where when you give an answer, you have to back it up with those citations. That's the same thing that we're talking about. An author who is trying to persuade you to do something has to give you evidence in order to help you understand that their opinion is the right opinion. Okay? Before we move on, sorry, give me 1 second. I'm trying to get this in. So an argument states an author's purpose on a topic and tries to get readers to agree with it. As a reader, it's your job to evaluate, which means determine if that argument is correct, okay? You have to figure out whether it gives clear information, clear thinking, and has enough evidence to support it. Okay, evaluating an argument, you can do it by tracing or figuring out how the author has built it, which means identifying their claims and how well those claims support their opinion. So we have an example on the next slide about a little girl trying to convince her mother that she wants a dog. Okay, so pause the video for 1 second, take a look at that slide, and just get yourself familiar with what is going on before I go over it. So go ahead and pause the slide and take a look at that cartoon and the chart and just kind of make some observations. Okay, so the girl in the cartoon, she's trying to convince her mother to get a dog. Okay, here the argument is that the girl should have a dog, right? She's trying to say, Mom, can I have a dog? Mom's like, why? And her first claim is that having a dog will make her more responsible. Her evidence for that is sharing that her friend became more responsible when he got a dog. Okay, so that's one evidence that she used to back up her claim. Okay, her second claim, we don't see it in the cartoon, but her second claim is that a dog will be a good friend and companion to her. The reason or evidence that she gives for that is that she can spend time with her dog instead of going out with her friends. So she can stay at home, she'll have a friend at home, and she will not always have to go out with her friends. So that was her claim for that. So on the next slide, we have a short little passage that I'm going to have you read, and I want you to try to figure out what the author's argument is. So when I switch to the next slide, pause it, read through the quick 2 paragraphs, and then you can play the video again and move on. So go ahead and pause it, read the hip hop article, and then pause, or then continue with the video. Okay, so the question at the bottom is, what is the author's argument and how does she support it with claims, reasons, and evidence? So I created another small chart or graphic organizer to help us figure out this answer, okay? First of all, the argument that the author is trying to share is that hip hop should be included in literature and curriculum in schools. She gives 2 important claims. Her first claim is that hip hop is a form of poetry, so therefore it can be taught in school because it follows what like poetry, hip hop contains meter, rhyme, and lyrics, okay? Her second claim is that hip hop lyrics deal with important themes. And her reason is that hip hop lyrics deal with topics such as heartache and the challenge of growing up. So her reason behind that is saying that students will be able to connect more with hip hop lyrics than traditional poetry because they'll be able to make those connections about heartache and some challenges about growing up. So now it's your turn to kind of put this into perspective. So you are going to go into your independent task part of Google Classroom. Also, again, the link is right here on the slide if you need to go back and to do it. But if you go into the Google Classroom, you're going to go into independent work and you're going to see everything uploaded right here. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to click on independent work under Google Docs. Okay. and you are going to read the article, Expanded Learning Time, and you're going to determine whether you are in favor or you are against longer school days. So you are going to read through. The first part is all arguments of the reasons why there should be longer school days. And then down at the bottom on the second page, it's all arguments of why we should not have longer school days. So after you read it, make sure you're taking some notes during it to kind of help you understand the claims and the evidence that the author gives. And then you're going to go through and do the comprehension questions. Now, my suggestion for the comprehension questions is to have this part of the text open on a separate tab, like up here on the side, so that when you get to the comprehension questions, you can go back in the text and find your answers. So just remember that as you're doing the comprehension questions. So that's all of your independent work for today. It's not super long, but take your time doing it. And just remember that your work has to be submitted by 5 o'clock. So go ahead and you can do that now. And this video will be still on the Google Classroom, so you'll be able to go back through and do it if you have any questions. And also the PowerPoint itself is up there that you can click if you need to use for the links. So go ahead and do that now. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow.